circumstances beyond anyone's control. Dr. Dre is in the motherfucking house, so right about now, and I say, yo Steve, are you with me? ICE, are you with me?
Here's a little something about a nigga like me that never should've let me buy a tape from Steve. Ice Cube would like to play dope shit mixed by Dr. Dre. Since I was a youth, I like COMPTON. Now I like the motherfucking Roadium. Buying a tape or two, that's what the hell I do. You don't like Tony A? Well, fuck you, this is a game, and I'm in it. Ice Cube will fuck you up in a minute with a right, left, right, making you sick. And then you see Tony A is on the mix.
Tony A! Tony A! When you're ready, go.
Welcome back, everyone, to Roadium Radio episode 253. And before I introduce my very special guest of the night, one of my special guests, I actually have two tonight. You're going to want to tune in because one thing that Roadium Radio does shine light on up and coming talent. It doesn't matter if you're a rapper, if you're a singer, if you're an athlete, or if you're an actor, comedian, it doesn't matter. We all interview everybody here. We give everybody and provide everybody a platform to shine light on what you are doing. One thing I always like to say that if we don't look out for each other, who will? There's a lot of other radio stations, a lot of other podcasts that will probably never, ever even interview me. So what I did, I started up a podcast, and we are only here because you guys, the subscribers, the listeners, you guys that are tuned in have made this possible. So once again, I applaud you. Thank you. And for those of you that would like to be on Roadium Radio in the future, once again, I encourage you, send your music to roadiumradio@gmail.com, roadiumradio@gmail.com. I'll be looking through the emails once again this week. But please be patient because many of you continue to DM me and tell me, when are you going to book me? Even if I were to book you today, you probably wouldn't come on till beginning of July. That's how far back I am booked right now. So please be patient. Other than that, the website will be up hopefully by the end or the beginning of next week. Okay, so for those of you guys that want to buy merch, DM me and I'll send you the link. Even though it's still under construction, you can still buy merch. But other than that, if I have any more announcements, I'll announce them before we go to break or during the break or after the break. So without further ado, please allow me to introduce DUB4EVA100. How you doing, my brother?
I'm doing pretty good. What about you, boss?
I'm good, man. You know what? Let me fix my time really quick and we should be on. First and foremost, I know today is Wednesday. Let's go back to the weekend, man. How was your weekend?
To be honest, weekend was pretty horrible. I
Really?
just got over COVID.
Really?
Yeah, I was in bed this whole weekend, just resting. 100.
Really, man. You know, now let me ask you this, because this is something that I usually don't ask a lot of the people that I interview. Some have had COVID, some haven't. What symptoms did you have?
Honestly, this is my second time. So I had caught it back last year as well. And it was funny, I caught it by somebody that was vaccinated. So
Really?
Yeah, it's crazy. But same feeling I had. Fatigue is one of them for sure. I was tired. Chills. That was one of the main symptoms I had. Up all night with it. That's really about it. But this time was kind of a little different. I felt like I had like a knee or a foot just stepping on my chest.
Yeah.
My respiratory was hella bad at the time. I couldn't breathe. It was kind of hard, shortness of breath. So the best choice when if you get to that stage, just relax, because anxiety will take you over, like, for real.
Wow.
Because you actually feel like you're about to die. I honestly feel like I was about to die over this weekend. Like, it was horrible.
I had a friend that had caught COVID, and he had. Did you lose any weight at all?
I did.
Yeah.
I lost about a good 15 pounds in about 4 or 5 days. I wasn't eating.
It was the same thing with him. He said he lost all appetite, and at night he said that he would wake up with his shirt completely soaked,
drenched, chills, really, like, for real, for real.
Yeah, and he was like, I didn't understand it the first night. He goes, so I walked from my room to the kitchen, and I was about to pass out.
Yeah, that's the fatigue.
Yeah,
come in, it creeps up on you. Honestly,
that should. Now let me ask you this. I mean, I don't know. We're just conversating. Do you think that COVID thing was man-made?
Honestly, I'm like, yeah, it most definitely was man-made. I'm not a conspiracy type of dude.
Right,
to
right.
be honest, but
it's our opinion.
Facts is facts. So it's a lot of stuff.
Right.
I know you're probably familiar Tuskegee experiments back in the day, how they did us black folks. So the government is wicked. You know, I'm not gonna lie to you.
That's for damn sure. That's for damn sure. You know, but okay. You know, I don't want them to shut us down because we're talking about COVID. But anyways, other than that, man. Wow. Well, I'm sorry that you actually had to go through that. But have you been keeping up with the Golden State and Boston and Dallas and all these guys?
I'll be honest with you, I haven't been into sports since I was in high school.
Really?
Yeah. I've only watched like I don't even know what you call them, the finals.
Yeah.
And like the dunk contest and 3-point contest and with All-Star seasons weekend. That's about it. Other than that, nah, I've been keeping up with it.
Okay.
But I do be seeing the highlights. I've been seeing Luka been out there he
balling.
been doing his thing.
Yeah.
But I think it was a highlight where Curry was actually about to get into it with him. I didn't really know what was going on, but
Right.
I seen it on Instagram. But it looked like they ended up squashing out.
Yeah, you know what? It's because right now, yesterday Golden State lost. It was 3-0, and
3-0, right? Yeah.
and I thought they were going to sweep them, but I could tell my son. I said, I don't think the NBA is going to allow a sweep. You know, they need to
It's
make that
rigged.
money.
I'm
It is. It
all
is.
that it's a business. It's
It
a
is.
business at the end of the day.
And it sucks because you see them like total dominant, and then the next one they'll just like give it up, and it's like that shit is whack.
Come on now, Curry and Clay together. When I used to watch them two together, Splash Brothers, you know. So
Right,
It's
right.
Luka. That's all they got.
Right? Yeah, you're right. You're right. So now for the fans that may not know where Dub is from, where did you grow up at, man? Like, what city are you from?
Be honest with you, I grew up all over LA.
Okay.
Compton is like my stomping grounds, though.
Okay.
Be honest with you. I grew up in 54th and Gramercy Place. That's in South Los Angeles. That's where my grandmother and my mom used to stay when she had me.
Right.
And so after that, I moved to Watts. I was staying in the Hacienda Projects.
Uh-huh.
I went to Compton Avenue Elementary School. It's over there by Markham Elementary School.
Uh-huh.
Markham Middle School, if you are familiar with the Watts area. Lived in Inglewood, Hyde Park area. I've been all around LA County.
Oh, okay.
All
And is
the
that
way.
just because you just moved around like from family house to family house, or your mom just decided to move different homes, different, you know?
It's like a little mixture of everything. I had
Okay.
like a little rough childhood, kind of. My mom went through domestic violence, you feel me?
Okay.
So I even went as far as Sacramento when she was running from,
Okay.
my step pops at the time,
Okay.
So it's a little bit of everything
Okay.
with that.
What high school did you attend?
I went to Crenshaw High School, and then I got kicked out and came over to the Harbor area, Norbonne High School.
Oh, all right.
I was staying with so to be honest, like my relationship with my mom is like I didn't always stay with her when I was younger.
Right.
So I stayed with my auntie. She stayed in the LA area. So that's why I went to Crenshaw. And then all my cousins went over there. She lived over there on 54th and Gramercy Place, like basically all like my teenage years. So everybody over there, my cousins went to Crenshaw, so I went to go there too.
All right. And you play any sports growing up?
I did. I played a lot. Played baseball, played basketball, played football. I'm not going to honestly say I got to play in too many teams. I got kicked out of school a lot. So it was like I was in the room most of the time.
Okay. All right. What about, let me ask you this, because you're a rapper. Growing up, did you play any instruments at all?
Yeah. I grew up in a church. So church choir, I played the drums as well.
Really?
Played the keys. I actually went to school for it for a little bit up there at El Camino in Harbor College because I wanted to learn how to actually, read and write music. So I know a little bit. I played the saxophone in elementary school too.
Okay. Can you still play drums?
Hell yeah. That's second nature.
That's dope, man. You know what? I tried to take piano classes one time, and I didn't have the patience. As much as I've been around so many musicians, I just know enough to play certain notes so they can kind of get an idea what I'm hearing.
Right.
They know just like, okay, is this? And I go, yes. But I try to learn notes, but I will be honest with you, I didn't have a good teacher. I didn't have that. And I remember by the next day, this fool wanted me like to be Beethoven and shit. And I'm like, bro,
it don't work like that.
It doesn't work like that. One thing about me that I'm a very slow learner, but it's because I want to master it.
Yeah.
You know,
I get that.
Yeah. So you play drums, you play a little bit of sax, you said keys. Do you still play keys?
Yeah, I still play the keys. So I make like I produce all my own beats.
Oh,
so
okay.
everything that you see released, I made it. From the keys, to the hi-hats, to the horns, whatever. Me, even in the engineering side. That's all me.
That's dope, man. That's dope. You know what? We'll get a little bit into the engineering side and what you used to record on, because growing up, hip-hop, the way it started for us, just to let you know, I'm 54 years old. I've been listening to hip-hop since pretty much when it started. I was in 6th grade when Rapper's Delight by Sugar Hill Gang came out.
Okay.
So back then, for us, if you didn't know any musicians, you were sampling. Yeah. That's all we were doing. You can grab a rock record and put the needle on the record, like and then just have the guy start doing some hip hop shit, you know. And that's all we knew. So I like the fact that music has advanced so much that artists like yourselves can now play your stuff, because we didn't have that luxury.
Because it was the analog era back then.
Right.
Everything you had to do hands on. Now you can just press a button and you got a whole beat. It's crazy now. Yeah. You know, let's talk a little bit about music, man. How old were you when you first got introduced to rap? Do you even remember the first song that you heard that caught your ear? Because you said you grew up in the church. So the reason why I bring that up is because many parents didn't allow their kids to listen to, if you will, worldly music. Yeah, true. We were still listening. Grew up in a Baptist church a little different. But I couldn't really say like the first song I ever listened to rap-wise, because not like that. I grew up like, I was the youngest. Mm-hmm. So when I was growing up, everybody was older than me. And then I grew up and hanging out with my grandfather a lot, and he listened to a lot of old school music. So I was listening to Earth, Wind and Fire, the Isley Brothers, all that good shit. Yeah. So those was my first stomping ground on music. When I hear you feel me? So it wasn't rap for me. Okay. So it was just that I honestly wanted to be a singer before I even wanted to be a rapper. You feel me? Yeah. So rapping just became a hobby for me because I just started freestyling a lot when I was like high school. But music started for me, honestly, was when I'll say like elementary school. I used to look up to these dudes that used to stay in Compton. It was like big brothers to me. Right. They had a group called The Brothers. And I remember going to them with their, I'm trying to remember when it was. It was a concert they had. It was on Crenshaw and Slauson. It's a bank over there. I'm trying to remember what bank it is. I think it's Bank of America, but they had some type of community outreach thing up there, and I remember them performing up there. Right. And I was in the jumper sitting in the parking lot just watching them perform. I was like, damn, I want to do that shit one day.
You were sitting in the jumper.
And sitting in the jumper, laying there watching them rap. It wasn't even a big crowd, but it was dope to me. And they made me and a couple of dudes in the community when we were staying in Compton. The group was called Young Money Makers. Okay. And so that's when I first started getting my penmanship. It was called YM and it was The Brothers. And so that's where it really started. And about how old were you at that time? I'm going to be honest, I don't even know. Probably like 10.
Like 10.
11.
Okay. Did you have other like homies that you were chilling with that rapped as well, or?
It was just all the older dudes I was with. They was rapping, and then their younger brothers I hung out with. And only one of them really rapped. Most of them, they was kids. Some people just wanted to play, but I found a passion in it. I also started making beats around that time too, because the person that they was rapping with, his name was Eric, and he was making their beats. Okay. And I remember they used to go into the car and sit there for hours recording, right in the car. And I used to be sitting there like, damn, these niggas really serious. I'm like, I gotta get serious too. Right. So it was me and my boy Anthony, rest in peace. That was one of the persons we was in a rap group together, YM&M. Me and him used to rap all the time.
Wow. Growing up, you're saying you were around 10 at the time. Who would you say were some of the rappers that, like, let's talk about the radio that you would listen to on the radio, like, this guy was my shit, this guy was my shit, this guy I'm fucking with, like, who would you say growing up, if you can give me at least 5 good or rappers that you bumped?
From that age, I remember the Documentary was a big album around that time. The Game was out. Mm-hmm. I was listening to a lot of Game. 50 Cent, of course, Candy Shop, Kanye, Wayne,
Okay.
I used to listen to Wayne. And that's probably, like, I remember 3 6 Mafia, I used to listen to them too. Because it was a lot of music I was listening from my step pops.
Right.
And he was a gang member, so it was a big one. So it was a lot of hard shit.
You mentioned a lot of different like artists. What like, even though it's rap, but the music is different. Like you mentioned 50, you mentioned Lil Wayne, you mentioned Kanye, and there was another one you mentioned. But they're all really different.
Yeah, because each one of them rappers, I can say I kind of take something out of each.
Mm-hmm.
I'm really, how can I say? I don't want to say meticulous, or I'm trying to find a word for it, but I really listen when I listen to music.
Right.
And I kind of study.
What do you listen to first, lyrics or beats?
Not even that. It's like how I see it in my head. It's kind of like somebody that sees colors when they listen to music.
Right.
So I see it.
Okay.
So it's a little different for me. So I be feeling for it. The cadence don't sound right to me. I noticed that. The hook, how he ended the verse, his rhyme schemes. I listen for all that. So basically, I guess I can say the lyrics, because if it sounds trash to me, I'm not gonna listen to it. I don't care how banging the beat is. If your words is not adding up, I don't want to listen to it. It's
interesting that you said you see it, because I've always said that music was 3-dimensional. That you hear it, you feel it, and you see it.
Yeah.
And it's true.
It's true.
A musician, if you're not a producer or a DJ, or if you weren't born with that, you're not going to really understand what we're saying.
For real.
Like, wait a minute, you see music? Yeah.
Like, I literally see music. My girl, she was like, you just got like an arsenal of music in your head. Because I can just be sitting there out of nowhere, I'm singing and rapping a song.
Yeah.
An old song that you probably forgot about. It's in my head. It's like back, and I hear it. And I can play the beat. I'm snapping to it. Like, I'm visually seeing it and hearing it the whole time. And it's just me pushing out words. And y'all just like, what the fuck going on with this nigga? But I'm hearing the song.
Yeah.
I hear the beat. I hear everything. Yeah. Right now, I'm listening to it. Like, you feel me? And people don't understand that. But that's how I see music.
Yeah, and the majority of the time, when I would produce a song, I would already hear it done.
Yeah. That's one thing, too.
Yeah, you hear it done
a finished project, so you want to make sure you lay it out that way.
Yeah, I used to always tell the guys I would work, just trust me on this one, bro. It's going to be a fucking banger.
Exactly.
One thing that I want to bring up, because you said you see it, back then we had 2-inch tapes. That 2-inch tape, 2-inch reel, would cost us about $125, and it was just actual tape. You could fit maybe 3 songs in there because it was only 15 minutes long. Okay, so you could fit 3 songs on there, but you got to keep them under 5 minutes. Okay. One thing about that, when I used to hear the music playing, press stop, rewind, press stop, rewind, stop, rewind, I would see like a graph, okay? And it's so funny because years later, whether you have Pro Tools or whether you have Logic, you now see the track on the screen like this. That's what I used to see back then.
Yeah.
You know, and so just somebody who was smart enough, obviously smarter than me, how can I put this on here for everybody to see? This is the beginning, this is the end, and you can scroll through every part of the song, take this part out. You don't have to sing the chorus 3 times anymore. Right. Just copy and paste it. Like,
and that's how it is now, for sure, in this digital era.
Yeah, yeah. It's a beautiful thing that you can do that, but I think what made the past era of when you said the Isley Brothers and you mentioned all these other groups is that they will sing all the way through.
They would. It'll be a whole 9-10 minute song.
Yeah.
I remember I was listening to Big Payback by James Brown. I didn't notice how long that damn song was till I was riding to work and I was in traffic and the shit was still on.
That guy is amazing.
He is.
That guy is amazing. Okay. Since you brought up that James Brown, did you ever watch the James Brown movie?
Yeah, I did. That was a good movie.
I'm going to bring up a part, and I really believe you'll be able to relate to it. And it's fucking sad what they were doing. Remember, they tied up his arm, and they put a boxing glove so him to fight another little kid.
He was a kid in the ring, man.
Yeah, and then he gets dropped.
And then he get back up after he hear that band playing.
Okay, that's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
The band was like some bullshit band.
It was.
They was like, burm, burm. And then, but in his head, he heard, bum, bum. Yeah, dude, I was like
marching in. Hell yeah.
See, and that's the thing that people don't understand. You could hear certain instruments and then make the song hear the finished product, and then just start. Yeah, you have to be.
That's a visual of what I was trying to say.
Yes.
Because how he was laying there, that band wasn't even playing what he was playing, you know.
Yeah.
But what he was hearing was something totally different. And
With the
that's how
same
it is,
instruments.
with the same instruments, and he
Wow.
looking dead at him and knowing they ain't playing that, but he hear it. You know?
And that's why I've always said to producers and DJs, look, bro, it's not with what you got. You can have the best shit, but it's what you can do with what you got. What if you got some cheap shit, but you're a very talented dude?
Look, man,
You
it's
know?
real shit. I started recording in my closet with a PS3 mic on
PS3
FL
mic.
Studios on a little netbook, like one of those netbook computers, small as hell. But I was dropping songs, making beats, making it happen, and it was sounding good. I had people telling me like, "Damn, bro, you recorded that in your closet on a PS3 to PS2 mic?" I'm like, "Yeah, bro, I did that," and it was amazing. Like,
You know, most guys that record themselves, they start out by recording on karaoke. You know,
it was one of those karaoke mics, basically.
Yeah, and I'm like, are you serious? Because back then, all we had was a regular mixer, a turntable, a cassette deck, and a cheap ass mic. And I'm like, start rapping when I scratch in. Then he'll start rapping, you know?
Right.
If we didn't get it right, do it
You
over
have to
again.
do it all over. And then I was watching, I forgot what I was watching, but it was a movie. Basically, that's what they was doing. No, a series, a Wu-Tang the Wu-Tang Clan series.
Yeah.
That movie show, when he was in the back, I forgot who was rapping, but it was down in his basement, and he fucked up. He had to keep going over from the beginning over and over and over again. So I see how hard that shit is.
You know, I wanted to ask you because a lot of people have recommended this. And then I'll tell you how I felt after seeing one episode of it. Did you see the Kanye West documentary on Netflix?
Yeah, Genius. I didn't finish it yet, but I did watch it.
Okay, so far, your opinion on it?
It just, watching that, it just motivates me more because a lot of what he went through, I went through on a different scale.
Okay.
You know, worked in different studios. I even worked in a studio in San Pedro. I was working with a whole bunch of different artists. I even worked with his name Howard Scott, you know, from the Lowrider Band.
Yeah.
Yeah, I worked with him. Like, I even wrote a song and helped make the beat, all that shit. But, you know, it's another story. But
Okay.
it's crazy how they will really try to shelf you out here.
Very, very true.
And try to put you in one direction. He was a whole artist besides just being a producer, but they kept trying to push him as a producer.
Right.
And now they see what he's doing. And I know they probably like fucked up a little bit because they didn't think he was gonna get this goddamn far.
And just rich.
Exactly.
Fucking.
But they trying to call him crazy, but he not. The man's smart.
Yeah, because that's what I was gonna ask you.
That
Do you
man
think
is
that?
smart.
Do you think that guy's crazy?
Hell nah.
No.
Slavery was a choice, and I'm agree to it.
Really?
That was a choice.
Okay.
And I'm gonna be honest with you, our history is all fucked up. Let's be honest. Not all of us came up here on boats.
Mm-hmm.
Some of us native to this land already. But like they say, cowboys are white. No, they're not. Cowboys was black. Like, it's a lot of I'm tied in with my history, so
Of course.
I know. You feel me? So there's been a lot of bullshit in the media. I just let it walk its ass off.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, knowledge is power. Okay.
It is.
But if I can strip you from it,
And that's what they do.
and I hold on to it, you know what I'm saying? I keep you ignorant.
Yeah,
It pays to keep you ignorant.
it does.
You know, like for an example, I know school today, and I'm talking about from elementary to junior high school to they call it middle school to high school. It's all watered down.
No, hell yeah.
Okay, and I'll tell you why. Because in India, if you look it up, they have more, if you will, honor students or you know the
Those are techs.
yes,
Those are tech geniuses out there.
yes, they have more honor students out there than we have kids in the U.S.
Why is that? Spoon fed.
Yeah, exactly. So that's why I could never hate on someone who comes to this country and makes a good living or actually even becomes rich.
Nah, for real.
Because I've been born here my whole life and I cannot hate on them because they made something of themselves.
Nah, you can't.
You know, so, but yeah, no, but I do believe that many times, you know, like I said, knowledge is power, and many times people just keep it from us.
No, they
and
do.
They just spoon feed us whatever's on the news.
But then sometimes they'll put the knowledge right in your face. and we'll ignore it. Because what they do is they'll put something else out there in the media to distract us. They'll put the truth right next to it, though. But what's going to entertain you more?
Right.
You know?
Jerry Springer or the truth.
Exactly.
You know? They'll take Jerry Springer. So, okay. Now as far as when you first started recording yourself and you first played it back and you heard yourself, did you like what you heard?
Nah, I'm going to be honest with you. I had troubles with my voice, finding my voice for the longest. Because like I said, I really wanted to be a singer at first. So a lot of stuff that I did, it was more on melodic levels.
Yeah.
But then I'll go outside and go get high with my partners, and we sit in the car, and I'm sitting here rapping for 3, 4, 5+ hours. So it became like, you know what? I can freestyle hella good. It's sounding good. Everybody say I'm sounding tight. So let me try to put it on some bars. And I mean, like, you know,
right.
a track. And so I started slowly and then got my sound with it.
That's good, man. The melodic shit sells, bro. It fucking sells, bro. And that's
look, and it's funny. Look, I just want to tell you this point right here, because before Roddy Ricch came out, it was funny. It was this dude in I stayed in Harbor City. His name was Gummy. He's a Long Beach cat. He used to always tell me, because I was making songs already with my melodic rap style. He was like, "Bro, I'm telling you, you put that shit together, you gonna blow."
Yeah.
And I kept playing with it and pushing it off to the side, and then a year later, Roddy Ricch come out with a song, that melodic rap, and he told me, he hit me up, was like, "I told you," and I was like, "You did."
Yeah,
you know?
that's true. Because that's the kind of shit that you could hear the whole crowd singing.
Yeah,
and it's true, man. You know what? I mean, let's just look at some of the choruses that are so melodic. For an example, I see the same hoes.
Nate Dogg for sure.
You know, ain't none but a G thing, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, just fuck, bro. I mean, those are the ones that everybody sings when they rap them. You know what I'm saying? So, but
sometimes they don't even know the verses to the song. They know the hook.
Exactly. You know, there was a song that came out in the '80s by my boy Rod Neal. I never knew none of his lyrics. It was a dope song. It's called Everlasting Bass. Okay, Everlasting Bass. But the only part that the whole crowd would sing was right before he goes into the chorus. He says, "But you can't get enough of everlasting bass." That was the only part that he kind of like did melodic.
Yeah.
And everybody fucking sings it when he raps it. And that song, that little melodic part, I believed, is what made the whole fucking song, bro.
I was about to mention that too. Sometimes that one little thing will make a whole song.
Yes, bro.
Be a hit.
And DJs, big bass with big bass.
So it's a hip hop track?
Yeah.
Okay, I'm about to check it out.
Yeah, I'll play for you during the break, man.
Bet.
Speaking of breaks, we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. We're going to come right back and pick up where we left off and let people know what you got coming out. You know, what can they expect from you?
Yeah, bet.
So, okay, everybody, once again, call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody, let them know that Dub's in the motherfucking building, and we'll be back in 10 minutes. You'll call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this biatch. Welcome back, everyone, to Roadium Radio episode 253. And we're going to go ahead and jump right back into it with the Forever 100. You know, now let me ask you this. When you first started rapping and you first started recording yourself, what was your name back then? Was it still the same name?
No. Back then, I was going by just DW.
Okay, DW.
Just DW. That was my producer name. I used to use this. Y'all know you seen Arthur before, the cartoon?
I was just about to say, is it sister or something like that, huh?
Yeah, I sampled the whole beginning, like that part. We'd be like, oh, DW, whoa. That was my tag back then with my beats.
Oh, that's dope.
And so DW, that's what I was. And then I went from DW to Sumo to DUB4EVA100.
Sumo? Why Sumo?
Sumo was a childhood nickname my dad and Uncle A.DA gave me. Well, really my Uncle A.DA gave me on my dad's side. His name Foots. He's a drummer. He's the first person that gave me my first drum set. Like an actual real drum set. It was dope. It's a remote set. It had the little snaps to put it together. It was like a custom one. Like they don't really make it no more. So I still got that shit too.
Oh, okay. And as far as like who taught you how to play drums? Was it just self-taught? Did you watch somebody?
It was like a little bit of both, self-taught and taught. Like I was at church. I want to say, I think my step-pops, my mom had got remarried to a pastor. So he taught me how to play the drums. Okay. And then afterwards, somebody else that came to my church, one of my good friends now, he's one of my older mentors, that's what I'll call him, Raymond. Dope as hell. He kind of put me on game with it for real, and that's how I'm able to get it like I get it.
Wow, you know, I'm going to say this, man. One thing that I've learned out of doing 200 and...
My Uncle Foots taught me too.
Okay.
He played for Gladys Knight. Cause I can't remember. I remember I used to go to his house in the summertime when I used to go visit my dad. And he had a drum set in his living room. He taught me how to do paradiddles and doubles and all that shit.
See, I don't even know what that is. That's drummer talk.
Yeah, it just counts.
Okay. You know, man, you know what? Most people that I've met, that I've interviewed here, when they played instruments, many of them were self-taught. See, I always thought you had to go to school to learn. That's why it's weird that I say that. It's because when I first saw the first DJ cut in front of me, the first DJ that I ever saw was Grandmaster Flash, but he was on TV. But the first guy that I saw cut, he had it was Run DMC, Sucker MC, but he was and I was like, what the fuck? So my first question was, who taught you? And he just said nothing. I just dropped the needle and I started doing this.
That's dope.
You know, so I always had to
heard it.
Yes, I always had to remember, like, some of the best musicians in the world just picked it up.
Nah, yeah, because that's how I got the keys. I started by ear.
Yeah,
I didn't know how to play keys at all. I got it by ear, and then from church, me playing the drums, the piano man, he started teaching me a little bit, and that's when I started learning how to do chords and stuff. But he never really taught me how to read it, just how to play it. So I knew how to play a couple of church songs. Yeah.
You know, some of the greatest musicians ever, and some people may never ever admit it, came from the church. Some of the greatest singers ever
for real,
came from the church. I saw a documentary, I don't know if you're familiar with a guy named Sam Cooke.
Yeah, I heard Sam Cooke.
Okay, Sam Cooke is an amazing singer, and he started in the church. And I believe his father or somebody in his family was a pastor. And he had such a beautiful voice, but he had people in the music industry, you know, trying to reel him in. And he said that when he spoke to the pastor, and that the pastor said, you know, there's going to be a lot of temptation out there. You know, my thing is, are you sure you want to do music for the world?
Yeah, it's a different ball game.
Yeah, and he said, I want to do music for everyone. That's what he said.
Yeah.
Well, he came out here, he blew up, but he was killed out here in Hollywood.
Yeah, I think I heard about that.
Yeah, he got killed in a hotel. Everybody was saying he was set up. Most likely probably was.
9 out of 10.
You know, but it's just sad, man, because I hate to hear stories like that. For an example, you look at a guy like Marvin Gaye, killed by his own father.
Yeah, Marvin Gaye had a cool story.
You know, amazing singers, man. And it's sad that their lives end so tragically, you know. So, but now as far as your music is concerned, around what age did you really get serious with it and said, you know, I'm gonna pursue this, man, and I'm gonna make this. This is gonna be me.
Let me see. I'm kind of gonna say middle school.
Okay.
Like my 8th grade year. That summer, I remember I started doing a lot of writing. Like I actually, like most of my raps used to be poems.
Okay.
That's how I started, right? Really getting my lyricism in. I used to write a lot of poems, going through shit. That's how I used to, you know, write my emotions down. You feel me? So, yeah, middle school. That's when I started.
Okay. And now let me ask you this: are you a fan of East Coast rap?
I'm a fan of East Coast rap. Yeah.
Okay. Let me ask you this: if you can give me your top 5 all-time rappers or all-time groups, it doesn't matter whether it's a rapper or a group from East Coast, who would you say are your top 5?
Starting off, of course, it's kind of generic, but Biggie.
Okay.
He's a dope lyricist. I'll say he's a better lyricist than Tupac.
Okay.
Where Jadakiss from? He from the East Coast, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Jadakiss, dope as fuck. Gotta give it to my boy 50. Shit. Because I'm trying to remember some good East Coast rappers that I still listen to now. Because I'm about to say, I listen to a lot of down south shit.
Okay. All right.
I'll be honest, that's probably going to, you know what? I'll put Jay-Z out there. Jay-Z's a dope lyricist.
Okay.
He hard. And Kanye.
All right. West Coast, top 5.
Ooh. Top 5 on the West. I'm putting Nipsey out there. Damn, it's so crazy. I'm gonna be honest with you, man. These past couple months since I've been pushing my own shit, since I got my album releasing in July, I ain't been listening to nobody. I've been listening to my own shit. Kendrick, he hard. I'm put him out there. Fuck. Yeah, you put me in a cold position.
There's got to be some dope rappers from the West Coast.
Yeah, it is, but I like that. West, we've been kind of watered down. We don't got nobody really on the mainstream besides Roddy Rich.
Okay.
I fuck with the game. He hard as fuck. You gotta come back to me.
Okay. Okay. Now I'm gonna ask you somewhat of a controversial question, and it's controversial because this brother's passed away. So rest in peace, Nipsey. A lot of rappers don't want to talk about him on air, simply because I've had rappers like yourself that I would ask them a question, and they'll kind of like, you can ask me later, or they'll try to change the subject a little bit. Okay, first let me ask you this. What was it about Nipsey that you really, really liked? What was it about him that you really liked?
I'll be honest with you. During my first couple years of high school, that's all I was listening to. Nipsey got me through some shit. Because a lot of shit that he was rapping about, being from L.A. and Compton and shit, like, we going through that shit every day. Right. He's a dope lyricist. I studied his music. I actually studied like his cadence. You feel me? Like the way he put his shit together, he's a real artist. He's not just a regular rapper. You feel me? And then his mindset with the shit. Okay. He was talking about the shit that I want to do. Like, you feel me? Of course, you know, back in the days, I sold a little weed there and all that shit. But the outcome of all of it is to be a successful young black man. You feel me? Owning some shit. And so I looked up to that shit. Yeah, of course. Because it's inspirational. Yeah. It's a lot of other music that was coming out, but really talking about some shit, Nipsey was talking about some shit. Yeah, okay. Now, would you say it was his lyrics and his delivery, which when you mean by cadence? Yeah. Okay. I had a couple of guys that
one is that only told me off air. And again, this is no disrespect. I'm only relating what other rappers have told me. Man, I love Nipsey. I love his music, but I just thought he was just a basic rapper.
Yeah, some people do, you know, and it's opinions, you know.
Of course.
So I don't really take it to offense when people say that to me too, because I heard, you know, some people just now figuring out who Nipsey is these past couple years.
Right.
So when you actually listen to him and lived in the same city, went to the same stores, and went to the same schools,
means something.
It means something. You feel me?
Yeah.
Because you actually, like I said, you live the same life this person is living.
Right.
Besides me trying to say I'm living like a nigga on the East Coast, I don't know what them niggas is doing.
Right.
So I can't look up to nothing like that when it comes to some music shit. I can, you know, probably vibe to it and relate to it, but it's not what I'm living. You feel me? So I respect people when they say that. You know, it's your opinion.
Yeah, you know, and I'm glad you said it, that it means something because you're from the same streets. I lived in Compton till I was 9, but I was raised here in Wilmington the majority of my life. Okay, I met Eazy-E in 1987. I got to go to his studio sessions when they were creating the first Eazy-E album and the N.W.A album. I'm not going to sit there and say that me and him were best friends, but I knew him good enough, or I had his phone number. You know, I can page him. Right. You know, or I could show up to the studio. He rapped on my mixtapes. I knew him that good enough. And so when he passed away, I'll be man enough to admit, I cried, bro. Mm-hmm. Like, that really fucked me up because I still remember meeting him. Yeah. And I was introduced to him as Eric, you know. So to me, that fucked me up. You know, a lot of people mention the deaths of Nipsey, with all due respect. They mention Biggie, they mention Pac, but they never ever mention Eazy. You know, so.
You know, that's true. You don't really hear nobody talking about Eazy unless his birthday coming up.
Right.
And then they playing him all day on the radio.
Right. Okay. Now let me ask you this. Do you know what Mount Rushmore is? Those 4 heads?
Yeah, the presidents, right?
Right. Give me your Mount Rushmore of rappers. East or West Coast or down south?
I knew you was about to get here. Bro. See, those are the questions I should have said I'm uncomfortable.
Right. Just say next question and we'll move on.
Nah, I don't. I'm going to try to put one together real quick for you, though.
Okay.
Let me see. Who would I put at number 1? That's the hard one right there, starting off. Damn. You know what? Just to not waste time, let's just move on.
Okay.
I don't even know.
Okay.
That's hard as hell.
You know, one of my boys, he did something. He was in the studio with a certain artist. I'll tell you who the artist is after. And he played me a beat. And he goes, tell me, you know, he played it for me on the phone, he plugged it into his car. But he didn't show me who it was. What do you think about this beat? And I'll be honest with you, it was me, him, and 2 other guys in the back. And the other guys in the back, we were just like, it's cool, I guess. It's cool, whatever. Okay? And he said, Tone, I really want to know, like, I could play that shit again. And I said, I'll be honest, I think that shit is trash. If I was doing that, I probably would have scrapped it and just started over again. If it's not coming together good, I said, okay, cool. He said, I'm going to show your boys who it is, who I was in the studio with. He says, and I want them to see what they say. When they saw it, oh, shit, that was him? That's tight. That shit is fire. Because it was Kanye West. Mm. So sometimes, because it's him and he turns on the drum and he starts, you know, oh man, you know, guys licking his nuts.
Nah, true, they do.
You know,
did come out with that song Scoopity Poop. Went viral. He made money. Yeah.
You know, so, but if they didn't hear and they just heard it,
right.
You know, but it's crazy, bro, because I've known producers that haven't had a hit in years. Yeah. But when they walk into the room, they still have like that stardom, that vibe that people still say, oh shit, that's him.
That stage fright, well, not stage fright, but that odd,
right?
That awe effect.
And then they're like, oh my God, if you come back right now, you'll blow up. The guy hasn't had a hit in 20 years. Not to take nothing away from him. The The guy's a legend.
Yeah.
But he ain't been able to produce shit. So,
like, what you mean? Like his newer stuff that's out?
yes, his newer stuff that's out. No, we're not talking about Kanye. It's totally,
Oh, okay.
No, I'm not talking about Kanye. I'm just saying that I've known producers that, let's just say in the 90s, they owned it.
Right.
But 22 years later, he hasn't been able to, no hits, not even on the radio. Nobody even talks about him.
Nah.
But when he walks into the room, people still lick his ass and like, oh
I'll
my God.
probably like Timbaland or something.
Yes, exactly.
A Swiss Beats.
Yeah. I mean, my thing, not to take nothing away from them, but if you ain't produced nothing in 20-something years that's worth bragging about, you know, maybe you just had a good run back then. You know, and pass the torch, homie.
Time to hang it up.
Time to hang it up.
Yeah.
So, you know, and I don't discourage anybody from working. Do what you love, you know. But maybe I'm just talking because I've known a lot of artists that, like, bro, humble yourself. You're not that guy from the 90s anymore.
Nah, for real.
You
There's
know,
a couple people I know like that, and I'm like, look, I don't even know why you trying to talk to me like that.
Perfect example, bro.
You can't teach me nothing because you only had a hit.
Yeah.
And that hit, it was a hit back then.
Yeah.
You can't do nothing with it right now.
Right.
And so I know a couple people like that.
Yeah, I'm like I said, I'm in my 50s, and it would be like if I rapped a song, and let's just say in 1991 it went gold.
Yeah.
You're up and coming. Right now you're fucking popping. But I demand my respect from you because I had a hit in 1991, and you need to show me some motherfucking respect. There's a lot of artists like that, and I just tell them, bro, you got to start from the bottom again, bro.
Nah,
you had a good run. Respect this young brother because he was probably where you were at. He's about, you know, but I always say this, you only go as far as your attitude.
That's true.
Okay? And a lot of these guys have real fucking bad attitude and wonder why nobody wants to fuck with them.
Nah, for real.
You know? So, no, believe to me, I only share that is because I applaud and I encourage the next generation to go farther.
Yeah.
You know, so, and I'm telling you, go farther than for whatever anybody else has ever done. Just continue to go. And, you know, but on the way up, don't forget the other guys that are trying to come in.
Look, for real.
You know, 2022, you kind of touched on it. What can people expect from you? You got a record coming out in July. Tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, I got my first tape. I'm about to officially drop July 1st. It's called Loyalty.
Okay.
It's all produced by me. It's going to be about 23 songs on there.
Damn,
23.
And
I hope, you know, people love it. Yeah. It's a whole different vibe, a whole different sound.
Are you big on features, on having people on?
As of right now, no. I've been doing music for over 15 years, man.
Right.
I've worked with a lot of people, released a lot of shit with a lot of people, never got the same, reciprocation back, like with,
right.
So I'm not fucking with nobody as of right now.
Right.
I'm going to do it on my own and show them that I can do it on my own.
Right.
And then after that, you got your bag, come talk to me.
For say there's a kid out there watching, he's 15 or 16 years old, and let's just say that he's got the goods, like, you know, his cadence is dope. Mm-hmm. Obviously, he needs a little bit of grooming, maybe a little bit more artist development, but you see a bright future in him. What advice would you give him from this music industry? Because from what I've seen, man, if you don't know the business side of it, you're going to get screwed, man.
Nah, the business side is, all right, so overall, what they need to understand, you can be talented.
Yeah.
All you want. But it's a business when it comes to this music.
Yeah.
Everything you do is a business. You spending your time in the studio, that's money. Everything you do is money. So when a label see you, they don't see you as this singer or rapper. They see you as this check.
Yeah.
You a bill. So when you do these type of deals, once you get your opportunity, y'all niggas need to read that shit.
Yeah.
And pay attention. And really know your own worth as an artist. And bring something to the table.
That's important.
You have to bring something to the table. It's okay to be talented. You know, some people go viral, but that's a one-lifetime chance. Not everybody gonna go viral.
Yeah, it's like winning the lottery.
Exactly. So I've been doing this, like I said, 15. I never stop. Regardless. Even if you feel like your sound ain't there yet, keep perfecting it.
Yeah.
Don't take failure as it's done. Take failure as opportunity. Because you gotta realize you're gonna run into shit. and it's not gonna always go the way you want it, you know.
Right.
So you gotta really. I don't want to keep on going because I'll preach the fuck out of this shit.
Keep going, man.
You got to stay focused. You know, don't stop your grind, and you got to commit to it.
Right.
Regardless, at the end of the day, you got to commit to it. You got to make this your life. You got to eat, sleep. This got to be what you want to do.
Right.
You know, and make sure you got some money behind it.
Absolutely, man. You know, and I see you brought some people with you, and I believe that's part of your team.
Yeah, that's my team. My boy with the green hat right there, that's my manager.
Okay.
That's the management team right there as well.
Okay. And one thing I will say that it's nearly almost impossible to win without a team.
It is. I was losing because I didn't have a team. I was doing everything on my own.
Yeah.
You know, and doing it by yourself, it sucks. Especially when you got a life, you know?
Yeah.
You got to eat. Yeah, I got my own apartment, you know, so you got to be able to pay them bills, keep the lights on. If I want to make beats, I got to keep my lights on.
Right.
So, you know, they help with that because I got somebody doing the scheduling now. I got somebody setting up a studio session for me, a podcast with you. While I'm able to sit there and worry about my life and get my stuff together, I got somebody that's still rooting for me. And that's why a team is very important.
Yeah. You know, I had one artist from Compton. Came out in the 80s, produced by DJ Pool. His name was King T. He was signed to, I believe it was Aftermath, when Dre had just left Death Row when he was signed. Or I think I want to say he might have been signed to Death Row. Either one of those labels. I interviewed him here, and he said this, where his biggest regret was leaving Dr. Dre because Dr. Dre had produced his album, and there were rumors that they were going to shelve him because he had just signed Eminem. Okay. So I believe it was Aftermath. He said, so my record was done. He goes, so what I did, I just went and I asked, you know, can I just leave? You know, and he just said, okay, that's fine. He said, I should have just waited. He goes, because let me tell you how Dre took care of everyone there. He said, Dre would walk up to us and he says, before we sign, before you start working, I need to know several things. Are your bills paid? No. Are you going through any issues, any problems at home? Yeah, this. Okay. What is it going to take to fix that? He said, these guys will literally pay your bills, pay you. And all they want to do is for you to clear what's up here and come in and just work. Like, give me your 100% when you come in for these, 8 hours so that we can release good quality music. That's what I'm paying you for.
Right.
Whenever you need to pay your bills, come talk to me. It's crazy. Like,
nah, so that's dope.
He goes, so I went in with not a worry in the world. Like, now he just wants my talent.
Yeah.
And I think that's what holds back a lot of artists because they're like, man, I ain't got no fucking money for my phone. I ain't got no fucking money for that. I'm trying to make it work.
For real.
And it's hard to work when you're under that
when you're
stress.
under that stress, for real.
Yeah,
that's how
true,
it was
bro.
for me in the beginning, I promise you.
Yeah.
Last 2 years ago, I was working at the airport and shit, and it was working up there sucked like a motherfucker.
Working sucks, period.
It does, you feel me? So I had to really spend most of my time working instead of able to chase my dream. So I had put music to the side for about a whole year just because I had to catch up on life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And so anybody out there watching, we just encourage you to realize that you are going to go through some trials with this. And then there's going to be times you're going to want to throw in the fucking towel.
And you can't.
But remember, you had to have already counted the cost before you got into it.
There you go.
That there are going to be times you're not going to want to do this. There are going to be times that you may go through writer's block. There are going to be times that, you know what, let's just wait. Music's changing. There's going to be seasons like that. But if you want it, it's there.
It's there. If you got to want it.
Yeah. Okay. Now, as far as your, you said it's going to be an album. You said.
Yeah.
Okay. And drops
July 1st.
July 1st. Okay. Now, where can people listen to it, purchase it, or?
Oh yeah, when it comes out, it's going to be everywhere. Apple Music, Spotify, iHeartRadio. I'm going to put it out there everywhere. So YouTube, it's going to be everywhere.
Okay. Now, I'm going to tell you this, and I don't know if you've even considered this. It might even be worth it to get a few hard copies pressed up.
Right.
Okay, because many times when you do shows and you have, let's just say, a meet and greet, people are gonna want to buy those. You know, and believe me, it's worth it. And me knowing the Latino community, the Raza community, we still buy CDs, bro. Like, it's weird as it may sound, we still do.
Yeah.
A lot of us still buy it for that nostalgic feel that, you know, like, you know, I bought 2 of them. I bought his CD. That one's sealed, so I have it there. But this is the one I played. This is the one he autographed.
Oh, shit.
We still do that, man. So what I'm telling you is, and many times, especially here in LA, when you do a show, the majority of the people that are going to show is going to be Raza.
Yeah, no, that's for real.
You know, so a lot of them, you got a CD, and it may sound old, but yeah, talk to my manager.
That's
you know?
real shit. You see my
Yeah. Right.
They supported me more than my own.
Yeah.
And not like that. My best friend, like I said, rest in peace, he was Hispanic.
Yeah.
Living right next door to me in Compton. So you feel me?
Yeah.
We tapped in. I already know.
That's dope, man. Okay. Anything I didn't ask you, man? Anything you want to promote? Anything you want to share? I don't want you to walk away and say, you know what, he didn't ask me this, or because sometimes I got so much shit going through.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, I got my own clothing line out. It's called Realizing Everybody Ain't Loyal. REAL, real, simple. You feel me? Because I realized it, you know. So I turned it to a brand. This is one of my sweaters right here.
Okay.
If y'all can see it. If not, you feel me? I'm over showing this camera and shit.
It's all good.
Right there. Yeah, but as of right now, that's about it. Just my clothing line, and just if you want to follow my music, it's DUB4EVA100. I believe so. It's the name is right there on the screen. You know.
Okay, it's on the screen, and they'll be able to follow you there, so they could DM you and ask you where they can get the
my clothing line. No, you can follow. I got a Instagram, Facebook. You can Google me. Yeah.
Okay.
You can Google Realizing Everybody Ain't Loyal. It'll pop right up.
Realize everybody ain't loyal.
Yeah,
ain't that the fucking truth?
It'll pop up.
So, any shout outs?
Oh, yeah, I want to give a shout out to my boy Nito, young Nito. That's part of my team right there. Triple M Money Making Missions.
Damn,
this is what that stands for.
Dope.
This is my actual first label that I'm starting now, you know. Because like I said, I'm coming to the label with a package. Yeah. You feel me? So yeah, it's about to get real, but shout out to Nito.
Dope, man. Dope. What about your boy? Do you want to at least name them by name?
Yeah, man. Yeah, I want to give a shout out to my boy Chato. That's my manager. And then we got Sir Brian. I call him JC. You feel me? That's another manager right there. They fucking it up. These dudes about to be moguls in the game.
Awesome.
So artists, when you're looking for somebody in the future, just keep watching my story.
Yes.
You'll see.
Awesome. Other than that, man, we're going to go ahead and take a 10-minute break. I want to thank you for coming through. Thank you for giving me the opportunity, man, to interview you.
Nah, thank you. And I thank your son, too, Brian. Good looking, bro.
Right there. Be scandalous. All good, man. Thank you, man. So once again, when you blow the fuck up, just come back and give us another interview.
Oh, hell yeah.
Hell yeah,
VIP passes, all that shit.
Yeah, absolutely, man.
With y'all.
Thank you, man. Thank your team. So once again, everybody, you know what? Let me tell you this. I'm going to have my next guest. He's a photographer, journalist, and lately he's been covering a lot of things that a lot of people may consider controversial. But if you care about Raza, you're going to want to listen to this, because we got pictures we're going to show. He's got stories he wants to share. And I think this is a very important part that we need to learn and that we need to be aware of. So I'll fill you in when we come back. So once again, 10 minutes, and we'll be right back with Eric, the photographer, journalist. I hope I got that right. We'll be back. Welcome back, everyone, to Roadium Radio, episode 253. 253, and I want to thank everybody who tuned in. Today, I had gotten some DMs that told me, "Oh, you know what, Tony? I don't really know who these artists are. I probably won't tune in." Let me tell you something. My next guest, okay, and I would also say this about my past guests who I just had. These are up and coming artists who I believe that we should support. Okay, I believe in supporting people. I believe in blessing people with opportunities for them to shine. But my next guest has been doing something, and I heard him speak over the weekend, and we're going to talk a little bit more about it. So if you tuned in and you're watching this episode right now, you're going to be blessed for the things that you are going to hear. I don't think I've ever brought in a guest like him on what he is about to share with you guys. So once again, without further ado, please allow me to introduce once again Eric. Eric, how you doing? Thank you for being here. I know I said it once again, but this is your first time here. So
thank you, Tony. It's a pleasure, and thank you for inviting me on.
You know,
it was great meeting you, by the way. I know we just met not too long ago over the weekend at Gil American Cholos, the CALI Mac event. That was great. Yeah,
let me give a shout out to Gil for inviting me and for allowing us to speak. Okay, we spoke from our heart, and you went up there and you spoke, and the things that you said really, really not only touched me, but touched my son. And it was funny because even though we were blessed by all the speakers, what you shared was probably what touched me the most. And I'm just being 100, which is why I reached out to you and I said, hey, listen, I got to have you on. You know, I got to have you on. Before we get into who Eric is, I want to give a shout out to, and even though he's no longer with us, Gabriel Fernandez, if I'm correct?
I believe so, yeah.
Okay. I don't want to get it wrong. Can you put up his picture up there on the screen? He passed away 2013. It's been 9 years. And I never forgot this child. And I don't want anybody to forget him either. And that's his picture up there. May he rest in peace. He was the one that was brutally killed by the stepfather and the mom.
Was he the kid somewhere in the desert area?
Like in the valley area.
In the valley, okay, yeah.
Yeah.
My boy Jorge, he's another journalist. He's actually out on the border and reporting from the Uvalde school shooting right now. So shout out to my boy Jorge Ventura TV. If you guys want to learn more about that, he's out there right now. But he told me about this kid, and there's actually a mural of him out there in
yes,
I think it's Palmdale.
Gabriel Fernandez.
He talked to me a little bit about that. That there's actually, I think, even like a Netflix documentary about.
Oh man, you know what? Let me tell you something.
But from what he described, it was really brutal. What happened to that little boy? It
was very, very brutal, man. And I never want anyone to forget this little boy. I have children, and I have grandchildren. So to think that something like this could have been done to this child, man, it's really, really heartbreaking. And I literally had to turn off the documentary like several times. When I say several, at least 5 or 6 times, I'll watch it again. I literally had to wait a couple more days before I had the guts to play it again, because I'd just stop and I'd call my buddy, you know. And I'm gonna be 100 with you. I'm not a guy that cries a lot, bro. But with this documentary, I couldn't stop, man. And I just told my boy, I said, man, this thing is killing me, bro. I said, I don't know how you finished it. But I just want to say, you know, Gabriel Fernandez, you know, may he rest in peace. And he's never forgotten.
Definitely. Rest in peace to God.
You know. And also I want to bring up those children that were killed by this 18-year-old kid from Texas.
From Uvalde, yeah. I've actually been to Uvalde. It's not super close to the border. I want to say it's like over 100 miles away from the southern border.
Yes.
But I've been to Uvalde because a lot of the border activity just stretches all the way up there. So as soon as I heard Uvalde, and I was like, oh man, like I spent some time out there. So, and it's a really, Texas, as we all know, it's really massive, you know, very spread out, a lot of that, but all of the little towns and, you know, the little barrios around, they're really tight knit, you know, like sometimes it's like a few hundred people in one town, so everyone knows each other. Everyone's probably been there for generations and their family. So it's when something like this happens in we're like a small area, small town Texas. It's it has a huge ripple effect in Texas.
Yes, and he's bringing up the picture of these children right here. May they rest in peace. And I encourage everybody watching to please hold their families in prayer, because, you know, I don't know if you have any children.
I know. I have 3 nieces though. And
Okay.
I see them kind of as my own kids because, you know, seeing them grow up
Absolutely.
and all that stuff. You know?
Yeah, you love them. I have children and I have grandkids. And I'll be 100 with you. And I believe I speak for all families. If anything ever happened to any of my kids, I wouldn't want to live anymore, bro. I wouldn't want to bury my grandkids or my children. I wouldn't want to. So I can't even imagine what these families are going through. So during this sensitive time, I want everyone to please take the time and at least don't just say my prayers and my condolences, but really pray for, you know, for what this tragedy that this family is going through, you know. See, out here in LA, because one thing I do know is LA Unified School District. You can't get into the school unless you hop the fence, okay? Mm-hmm. But if you go through the front, you have to check in with security there. ID, who are you here for? Who are you going to see? There's a little procedure. So I don't know how this kid, 18-year-old kid, got in there and just chose a classroom and just started shooting.
I don't know how he got in exactly into that school, but I just know that, so the first person he shot and killed was his grandmother. That's the first person he shot. And then he fled, and he was being chased by a Border Patrol agent, who I guess was the nearest law enforcement around.
Wow.
So at first people thought it was like a whole like Border Patrol chasing an undocumented person, but it was just, from what I've seen so far, it was like, that was just the only available form of law enforcement that's closest. So after he shot and killed his grandma, he fled in a pickup truck. I think it was like a Ford F-150 or something like that.
Oh. And
Border Patrol chased him. He crashed a truck, and that's how he went into the school. So then the Border Patrol followed him in there. But that's some of all from how it all started, you know.
Yeah, and then I believe he killed a teacher, or did he kill?
He killed a teacher, and I think the death toll right now is 18, maybe 19.
Okay.
Yeah, as it stands.
Okay. Wow, it's just terrible. Now, here's the thing. Once again, to me, it's just odd. And I also want to say to keep the families in prayer of the people that were lost in Buffalo.
Exactly.
With the other guy, and I believe he was targeting black people.
Yeah, that's what I've heard a few times too, that he might have specifically wanted to target an area that was more populated by minority groups. That's what I've heard that a couple times as well.
Now, you know, here's my thing. And if I'm correct, this guy was recording it because I saw the video.
He was, I think I saw the video once. I'm not going to tell you where to look for it or anything like that, but sometimes those videos get shared and, you know, curiosity, I'm like, I want to see how this played out. And he was streaming from Twitch. Yeah. Something like that. I think it was Twitch. And he just, I don't know if he logged off or what, but at one point the video just cuts off. Because
when I saw it and my son sent it to me, it literally looked like a video game.
Like a first-person shooter, right? Like Call of Duty or Halo or something like that?
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. All you see is the gun, and then you see these people laying down. And the moment that I knew it was real is when he shot out the window. Yeah. And I was like, okay, wait a minute. So I stopped and I told my son, you know, what is this? And he said, that's that Buffalo shooting. And this guy was literally killing these people, these harmless people, like the video game. Shot them, they fall down and shoot them on the head while they're in the ground. Another 18-year-old kid, okay? He was 18 as well, just like this guy in Texas. Now, here's my thing, and I don't want to start no race war. I don't. Me neither.
That's the thing that this shouldn't be what any of this should be made out to be.
Right.
War, you know.
But here's one kid in Buffalo. He gets arrested, white kid, okay? Mm-hmm. I don't know what's his other kid. I'm assuming he's Latino in Texas.
Yeah, because his last name is Hispanic sounding.
Yeah. He gets killed, you know. And again, you guys do the math. I'll leave it at that. But so people have commented on some of my posts and, you know, Tony, what's going on or whatever. I really don't know what's going on, man. But you know what? I will say this, that let's keep these families in prayer, because whether they're blacks or Latino, it doesn't matter. A life was lost. Yeah. Okay, and that's what matters to me. So it's kind of hard to even how to switch channels and move on. But let's talk a little bit about you and what you do. Who is Eric, the photojournalist?
Well, as you said, my name is Eric. I'm a first-generation Chicano, Mexican-American, from San Diego, California. My parents came, I mean, it's a kind of similar story to like a lot of us have. You know, my parents came up from Mexico with little to nothing. You know, they didn't speak the language, you know, just worked stereotypical jobs. Like my dad was a laborer, my mom was a housekeeper. They met each other at ESL classes. So, you know, it's kind of like this little backstory with that. And then I just came into the picture by accident.
Right.
And I have a younger brother and a little sister. We've just been in San Diego ever since. You know, I've had family up here in LA and family in Mexico, so it's been common for me to like come up to LA growing up, go to Mexico frequently to visit family, even Phoenix.
Okay.
I got into photography. Before I got into photography, I was more of an artist. Like I did a lot of like drawing and music, like in rock bands and metal bands. And then I don't know, out of nowhere, I just kind of got more fascinated with taking pictures. Something that's, as a kid, I was just something like was always really, it just captivated me. Like seeing like my uncles with like the VHS camcorder at the parties, the Polaroids being taken, and all the disposable cameras. I'm not sure why. They're just always been really interesting for me. It's just like, oh, I like how people are just capturing these moments. You know, it didn't matter what it was. And then in 2009 is when I got my first actual camera, my first real camera. And I took no classes on photography. I didn't even go to school for journalism. I got a GED. I went to college for like a semester, and for me, it was just like, I can't do this. I already went to school for 12 years. I'm not about to be here for like, you know, like longer. So I just kind of bought the camera, figured out how to use the settings on the camera, and just went from there, really.
Okay. Now, when over the weekend you shared how, if I'm, please correct me and interject at any time, you would go to the border.
Yeah.
And you would say sometimes for days, if I'm correct?
Yeah. So last year, I went, this was also my first time in Texas last year. The first time I went, I think I was about like 9 or 10 days or so. I went with one of my friends, another journalist, a colleague of mine, Anthony. He told me, like, hey, I'm going to go to Texas to see about the migrants coming over. Do you want to go with me? And I was just like, man, I'm there. You just let me know when to leave. Right. Where to meet you. I'll be there. So I went out there, and it was the city called McAllen, Texas. Okay. And in McAllen, there's a little city, right? It's a border town, like right on the border. There's Mexico is, I think, like maybe like a mile away from it. You know, so it's like literally right on the border. And this little town's called La Jolla, Joya, not like the La Jolla in San Diego. Okay. They look really different. It's like 180 almost. And we got there. We met with some other colleagues, and no joke, man. Like we weren't even there for an hour. I think it must have been like 45 minutes. Everyone was just getting out of the car, I was getting my camera and all that stuff ready. What was the purpose of going there? The purpose for me going there was because at that time it had been happening already, even under Trump, that people were coming into to the border. But as time went on, I just kept hearing like more people are coming, even more people like this. Numbers like this have like not happened before. So I was just like, man, like I don't know why, but like it's not happening like that in San Diego, but if it's happening over there, like I think it's something I need to see. Just considering like some of the people in my family and some people I grew up with, they were undocumented at one point, and they came up illegally. So for me growing up, and even to this day, like when I have a lot of sympathy for people that are undocumented, you know. So it was just I saw it as a chance for me to say like, okay, I want to see the beginnings of this. You know, people coming right over. I want to see what that's like. I want to, if I can talk with them, I'll talk with them. Because again, it was just, we see things in the news, you know, and on social media. And, you know, like it is true a lot of the time, you know, we have to give credit where it's due. You know, for the most part, a lot of the stuff can be pretty accurate. But when you're there and you see a single mom with 3 kids just completely dirty because of everything they've had to walk through, crossing the river, crossing through the mud, hiding in the bushes. That changes you, man. Like that's the kind of stuff that you see and you're like, oh, okay, this means a lot to you. This means life and death for you to take the chance to come over here for a better shot at just life. You know what I mean? And one thing with me is that pisses a lot of people off, but for me, it's just I'm seeing it for what it is, and at least in my head, I'm against illegal immigration because it's just why, and I get it. There's a lot of people that are very desperate. They're escaping sometimes crime, government corruption, extreme poverty, but there's also a lot of things entail coming up here illegally. So, like before even coming up to the border, say someone from El Salvador or Guatemala is coming up, they still have to come sometimes 2-3 countries. And on the way, they're subject, like especially the women, this is the thing, there's a statistic, it's like 80% of women that come up get raped or sexually assaulted. Yeah. So, and it's not because I don't say I'm against illegal immigration because I don't want people up here or whatever. That's not where the place that I'm coming from. What I'm coming from is there are horrible things that happen because of illegal immigration. That being one of them. Another is unaccompanied minors. People are sending their kids or kids with no parents. Just coming up the same way, crossing through El Salvador, then crossing through Guatemala. And then they got to go all the way up south to north through Mexico. And then, they don't even, a lot of the times, a lot of people don't even make it up to the border. A lot of people get abducted in Mexico, get murdered in Mexico, because in Mexico, if people find out, people that are obviously, in like hurting people, involved in criminal activities, that they see someone like that and they'll be like, well, maybe he has cash on him. Or maybe they have something like that. We'll just take it and then we just get rid of them. They're not even Mexican. They're from one other country over. So for them, it's more about coming up on something, or selling a kid or a woman off into the sex trade. So again, like for me, when I say I'm against illegal immigration, that's what I mean. I'm not trying to keep anyone from coming up. I'm not trying to keep anyone from like even entertaining. Hey, I want to be American, or I want my kids to be American one day. For me, it's just about going this route. Could mean your life, or your kid's life, your daughter's life. If you're like a mom and dad and you got a son and a daughter, who knows? Like maybe you get stopped along the way and they say, what, we'll let you go, but you got to give us your daughter. You know what I mean? True, it sounds crazy. Again, I know like a lot of these things sounds crazy, but a lot of it is also true. There was the guy, my boy who I shot at earlier, Jorge, when he was in Yuma, I think it was earlier this year, around January. He was live reporting from, I think it was Instagram or Twitter, and he said like some people came across over this area in Yuma they called the Gap because there's literally a gap in the wall. Okay. And some of it was a group of migrants. I think they must have been probably from El Salvador or even Guatemala, but they asked them like, hey, we're trying to get into Yuma, the city of Yuma. Like, can you take us there? And he was like, I can't help you, man. Like I'm here with the news. I'm like working. And then they told him, if you help us, we'll give you this kid. Like straight out. Just like that? Just like that. Like if you help us get into Yuma, we'll give you this kid. And again, like I know that these things sound like, it's like out of a movie or like a comic book or something like that. Yeah. But, I have friends that have experienced things like that where people say just like, hey, we're going to give you a human being as trade, and you can do whatever you want with them, but you got to do it so you can do us this favor. Right. There's it's just a lot, man. I think about all this stuff every single day because, again, I wanted to see it. I wanted to learn firsthand what human beings that are, escaping these issues that they have in their countries, whether it's violence or corruption. Like, again, I get that. I get that some people are legitimately fleeing. But people will take advantage. Yeah. There's just horrible things that happen, and people that want to do harm. They don't care where you come from. They don't care how much money you have. They don't care if you're pursuing. You're just trying to, like, you know, not be harmful yourself or you know, rip someone up. For them, it's just like, I need to come up on something, whether it's money or trading you and your kid to for something else that I want. You know, like that stuff actually happens.
You know, I want to say, man, it was maybe 10 to 15 years ago, okay, that I had heard this, and I asked around, you know, I didn't hear it on social media, but I asked around, and a lot of people said it was true. Did you ever hear what was the kidnapping capital of the world?
I think at the time it was Juarez, no?
Well, yes, you're close. Everybody was saying it was Mexico. Mm-hmm. Okay, the Mexico was the kidnapping capital of the world. Then they were saying only second to them was Arizona, and then eventually it went to Juarez. They actually even made a movie with J-Lo. I believe it was called Border Town.
Okay, yeah. I know what you're talking about.
And it was pretty much based on events that happened over there. Mm-hmm. How these women just end up missing, prostitution, killed, traded, whatever. And we know it still goes on, man. You know, and the thing is that you have taken pictures. Let's get into a few of those pictures. Is there any specific one that you would like him to bring up, or maybe just have him bring it up?
Yeah, can you bring up the picture of the little boy?
There's a picture of a little boy that is by himself, correct?
He was by himself, and I don't remember what time of the night that was. That night was, there were some nights where, I mean, at all hours of the day people cross.
Yes.
But there was like some times where like you would have 20 people cross in 1 hour.
The little boy just sitting there?
Yes, in the blue shirt.
No, not him. It's like he's like laying down on the grass.
Yeah.
But then, like, out of nowhere, like in the next 30 minutes or hour, you'll have 80 people cross.
Really?
Yeah. So like, like I was back to what I was saying. Like the first night we were there, I must have been 45 minutes. Everyone was just getting out of the car, making sure their shoes are tied and all that stuff. And I was getting my camera ready, and then someone was like, "Hey, there's people crossing down the road." And there was just under 200 people in this one group in the first night that I saw.
200?
It's no, the other one. It's kind of like that, but it's a little boy. That's a little girl.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
No, it's in there. Okay. What can you tell us about this little girl that's...
The little girl, she was actually in the same group of that little boy, the picture that he's looking for. But this little boy and that group they were all kids. They were all unaccompanied. I think it must have been like 12 to 15 kids that came alone somehow.
By themselves?
By themselves, yeah. And they were ranging from like 6, 7 to like 13. And they were all just in one group. And that picture, right, that one right there. That area is actually a park right on the border on the Texas side. And that night there was
okay, leave that picture up there.
There was a heavy rain. I mean, on top of it being the South in Texas, humid as fuck. You know, like I was in the rain, I was sweating. That's how humid it was. Okay. But it rained so much that the park was flooded. So all the grass was pretty much just like a huge puddle of water. And that little boy, he was just lying down on the wet grass. All of them were just like laying down on the wet grass. All of them exhausted. He wasn't. I talked to him in that whole position at the same time. He was that tired, he couldn't move.
So you just walked up to him, and
I just walked up to him, and I was just like, "Mijo, like, where are you from?" He didn't speak any English, obviously, but I was just asking him, like, "Mijo, where are you from?" And he said, "I'm from Honduras. My name is Hector, and I was like, "How old are you?" He's like, "I'm 8." And I was like, "Are you here alone? Like, where's your mom and your dad?" And he's like, "Yeah, I'm here alone, but I don't have a mom and a dad. The person taking care of me in Honduras is my tia." And he's like, "But she didn't want to take care of me anymore because she wanted to start a new life in Spain. So she paid for basically like his travel to come up to the U.S. because she just didn't want to work take care of him no more. So I guess in her mind she saw like, well, I'm just gonna make sure you get it to America so that you have a better life up there, while I go just start a new one in Spain, in España." And like, man, like that plastic bag he has, like I think there was like some. He didn't show me or anything like that, but a lot of the kids sometimes had like a little plastic like grocery bag or a little backpack, and it was like basic documentation with like their name, kind of like a birth certificate or something like that. And it was just harsh, man. Just like seeing kids like that, just lying.
So he was just there by himself, no family. His tia, his aunt, wanted to go start a new life. I guess probably some dude, maybe in...
I can only assume so, you know what I mean?
In Spain, I'm going to pay pretty much for your coyote to get you across. Mm-hmm. At 8 years old, start your new life.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, this is another thing that I like to tell people, is that, I get it, the whole thing about letting people in because, they want a better life and they want a better future. And one of the reasons why I'm against the whole open border thing is that I hear a lot of people say, like, mainly Raza, because this is such a sensitive issue towards Raza and Latinos, is that everyone says, oh, just let everyone in, let them all in. And I'm like, okay, well, when they come in, then what happens?
Yes.
You know what I mean? No one, as far as the conversations I have with people, no one can elaborate past that point. Right. I'm like, okay, let's say, just for example, 100 people come over and they're in San Diego or Texas, okay, what's the next step then? Where do they go? Do they just stay there? Do you let them stay at your place? Do they have a job somewhere? Is there shelter? Is there a pathway to citizenship? Like, what is it? And a lot of people also do like advocate for that stuff, for like a pathway to citizenship and for help. But generally speaking, a lot of people just say, let them in. And then they just kind of like end the conversation right there. And like the thing is that in that part of Texas, in the Rio Grande Valley, it's mostly Mexican people. Yeah. You know what I mean? And like, they're the ones literally, like, they were telling us, it's like, man, like, we don't like what's happening here because, again, because I didn't like what I saw. They're like, they have these little farms out there, they're like all pretty tight-knit communities. They're kind of distant from the big cities, and they're like, I'm finding kids, like just abandoned kids on my property. I don't know what to do. I don't know what to do with like the people running across my little ranch, in the middle of the night. Like, I don't know who they are. It's like, like they're all like, so like, again, I have to say that I'm against illegal immigration for very particular reasons. Yeah. You know what I mean? But they're also, you do have to take into account that there are people that live in these areas where this is a really huge issue, and they're trying to voice their concern. And they're the ones saying, like, there's some guy loading up people in the back of a pickup truck, and like why is that happening? Like, why is it happening? Why is like a group of 10 kids just walking in the middle of the night, like down the neighborhood, like stuff like that? So,
okay, this kid Hector came from Honduras. He's got no family here.
No family. He didn't tell me he knew anyone. Let me read you some of the numbers because.
Let's save that because we're about to go to break.
Go ahead.
But before we go to break, I just want to touch a little bit on this boy right here. So, I know it's going to be a rhetorical question, but the best that you can elaborate, okay? So he made it on this side. He's 8 years old. What's his next move?
I don't know, man. That's the thing. Like, if I could ask Hector himself, like, hey man, like, mijo, what do you want to do now that you're here? Do you want to go to school? Like, do you want to go to an orphanage? That'd be a conversation to have with them. But as far as I'm concerned, like, no one knows like what happens to him.
How long ago was this picture taken?
I think that just over a year ago.
So we don't even know where he's even.
We don't know where he's at. I don't know if he's in Texas or some other state, or if he's still in custody with Border Patrol or anything. No, I don't know.
Yeah, we don't know, and he'll never see his tia again.
Yeah, she's out of the picture completely.
Yeah. Okay. We're gonna go ahead and take a break, and then we're gonna come right back. We're gonna show more pictures. And then I really want you to give numbers,
of course,
statistics. So, once again, everybody, I want to thank everybody who tuned in tonight. This is something very serious, and it's been going on for a long time, and we have somebody who witnessed it himself, and we're just having a discussion, and I thank everybody for tuning in, and I just hope that through this that we just learn to love and care for our people, and I hope that something in the future can be done.
It can be done.
So we'll be back 10 minutes. radio. Call somebody, text somebody, slap the shit out of somebody. Let them know that Roadium Radio is live up in this yacht. Welcome back, everyone, to Roadium Radio episode 253. And I hope you guys at least call somebody to tune in for this one. We're going to go ahead and jump right back into it with Eric. Eric, how you doing?
Good, thank you, Tony.
It's just that last story that you shared about that little boy, Hector, is still very, it's just,
Yeah, it's hard. I have to think about that little kid every day. I think about him every single day because that's, I was like one of the last people he talked to before he was taken away into a facility.
Yeah.
So, again, like I said earlier, we don't know where he is now. Like for me, it's just like if he's missing, then I'm probably one of like the last 2-3 people he ever talked to.
Yeah. You were going to share a story that you were sharing with us during the break.
Yeah. So when that night I met that little boy Hector, that night it was raining heavily. I mean heavy. Like it doesn't rain like that in Southern California. When I was waiting in the car with one of my boys, and it sounded like we were driving underwater. Like that's how heavy it was raining.
Wow.
And some of my other colleagues, they went on this dinner to meet with some congressional candidates and members of Congress who were in town, who were, I don't know how they got access to that dinner or something like that, but they got access and they told us like, okay, like you guys stay here. We're going to go meet with them at the dinner and we're going to try to convince them to come down here. And somehow they convinced, like, I think it was like 24 of them. And some people also, I think like 2 people from like other media also. So it was probably like 22 people from Congress and running for Congress. Somehow they convinced them. And right after that dinner, there was guys in like, fancy suits, like women in heels, like all to the tens, They came down to that area of the border, and we took them to the wall, the border wall, and they, again, all of them dressed like super fancy clothes. They walked with us through the mud, through the rocks, through all the trees, like giant ass bugs flying all over the place, and like it was just interesting how like at one point Kamala Harris said like she would go into the border, right? But she never went to where people wanted her to go to. She never went there. She was in like an airplane hangar that was like 20 miles away from like I forgot what city she went to say that she was at the border, but she wasn't near the border. She was like 20 miles away. But these other people, these other politicians came with us to the actual border, to the border wall. They were like touching it, talking with us. We got to interview some people. And on the way back, they were all like in these little shuttle vans that I guess they rented. And while we were driving down, we saw groups of migrants that had just crossed, and they were walking down the road. And we all stopped because they were walking in the middle of the road, so we kind of had to slow down and stop the car. But when we saw that they were migrants, all of them just ran out of the van. All of them. The congressmen and the people that are running for Congress, they all ran out of the van. One of them's in a wheelchair. Madison Cawthorn, I believe is his name. And this guy's in a wheelchair, and he went out there with us. He got his wheelchair, went through the mud and everything. They all got out, and then we got out with them. And I want people to keep in mind that though this may be Texas and it's right next to Mexico, when I was there, very few Border Patrol spoke Spanish. Very, like, they people browner than me and you, like look like straight up ISIS, don't speak English. I mean, don't speak Spanish. Oh. State troopers and police, like these for some reason, not everyone has to know Spanish, obviously. Right. But it was just, for me, it was just like, if you're Border Patrol, I think you should have some sort of bilingual skills, considering the fact that we live next to Mexico, and this is like the kind of people that you guys are going to be encountering more times than none, right? Yes. But very few guys spoke Spanish. Very, very few of them. So, and the people from Congress, a lot of them don't speak Spanish either. There's a bunch of I think they were almost all white people. And they got out, and it was me, I think like 3 of my other colleagues in total. They were just like grabbing onto us, just kind of like pushing us towards them and saying like, what is he saying? Where is he from? How old is this kid? Are they okay? Did they get robbed from the cartel? Like, is the cartel making them do this? Like, it was like a bunch of questions that we were just like pushed into the situation where like all of a sudden, it's like we're media, but then all of a sudden we have to be translator for Border Patrol. We have to be translator for people that are in Congress. Yeah. We had to translate for the migrants to the Border Patrol. It was weird because it's just like this is one of the, I guess, the areas where it's like I'm fortunate enough to like know Spanish and English. Yeah. But that wasn't my intent of going there. All of us just kind of like were shocked a little bit, where it's just like, wow, like this is like, it's kind of like falling on our shoulders right now. Right. Like, we're here to like get pictures and like interview people, but all of a sudden we're just like the interpreter for this whole thing. For that short amount of time, we were just talking with them and then relaying what they said to like certain representatives. And I mean, we kind of had to do it. You know what I mean? It would have been really awkward for us to like not do that, and it wouldn't have It would have resulted in us also not having certain interviews and certain photos, and probably even convincing them to go down to the border. I think it all just kind of played out in our favor in that way. You know, if they came, so now they're in the situation. They're finally seeing what's happening at the border, and then we just so happen to speak Spanish. So then, like, it just kind of, we became that little.
Right. How long would you say they were there for, like, asking you guys to ask these questions to them?
I think in total they were there maybe for like maybe 2-3 hours at the most.
Wow.
At the most,
I wouldn't have expected them to have been there that long.
I didn't expect them to be there for that long either. Because I mean, I think, and our idea was, we're gonna get them there. We're gonna show them the border wall, and they can, you know, they work in the government. You know, so like if they gotta leave, then they gotta leave. You know, but we can't do anything about it. But
right.
they wanted to see what was happening. So, the fact that we came across that group of people, like it was moms with kids, you know, and those unaccompanied kids like Hector that they we were translating for. It just kind of showed them the reality, you know, because again, like they work in government and they have access to like the same media we do, and they see all these videos that go viral and all that. But again, like for them to be there and just see like, there's this congresswoman, she's really controversial because she's like really hardcore conservative, Lauren Boebert. She's like super hardcore Republican, really pro gun, like everything, you know. And that's why she's really controversial. A lot of people talk down on her and all that, but for me, like I have a lot of respect for her because she went down there. You know what I mean? Like she took the time. She didn't have to go down there. She could have just, after that dinner, she could have just said, I'm just going to go back to wherever I live. You know, I don't have to do this. Yeah. But she and the other group of the politicians that came down there, like they went, you know, they actually showed up to the border to see what was going on. And I translated for her what was happening with Hector. I was like, yeah, this little boy's 8. He's all the way from El Salvador. He's here alone. He doesn't have a mom and a dad. So like for her to just like be there and like hear me kind of like give her what, translating what Hector was saying, like really not, I'm sure it meant a lot to him, but for me, it's just like, it meant a lot to me too, you know, just being Raza, being like, you know, knowing people that have been here for years, undocumented, you know, like they basically invisible, but living amongst us, you know what I mean? Yes, yes. So it was just interesting and like, also like I respect her a lot for being there, you know, considering I don't care about her views on whatever. For me, it's just like, okay, you wanted to see this, here it is. Yeah. And this is what it is.
Let me ask you this for the people that may be watching. Okay. So they cross through water, if I'm correct.
Yeah. The Rio Grande.
Okay. They land on Texas American soil.
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, if you had to guess, once they get off and they start walking, where do they go? They start walking down the road.
It's if there's a road, they'll walk down the road. There's we learned that before they cross, they get coached on the Mexican side, and this is one of those things that sounds really crazy, but it's, you don't gotta believe me, but it's true. So they get coached on the Mexican side by the coyotes and the cartel,
right?
And they tell them, okay, so when you cross, don't run from the border patrol, because part of the process is that they're gonna take you in. You're gonna get put in a facility for I don't know how many weeks. It varies person to person, but it's usually around 2 to 4 weeks. After that, they let you out. So if you run, there's some people that do run. There's like a lot of people that have run, but the people that run, when they catch them, they're like crossing with fentanyl, or they're guys that have like serious criminal backgrounds, that have been arrested here in the U.S. and then deported. So like a lot of the times those are the kind of people that when they run, you see them on camera, they just run, they jump out of the cars and all that. But not including them, that's what they get coached on the Mexican side. So they tell me, you cross over, if you see the lights from the border patrol on the vehicle, just walk towards them. Walk towards them. If you see border patrol, just walk to him. Don't run, and just sit down and do what he asks you to do, because they're gonna have to let you out eventually.
Okay. Now my next question is, well, you say, where do they go? I just have so much going through my mind that so much that I want to ask.
So for the kids, because you said where do they go? Because we remember the whole kids in cages thing.
Yes.
So last year, they called them pods, like little cells. That they were just made for the kids only, and these pods were were made. This is like a lot of the photos came out where the kids in the thermal blankets and all that. So each of those pods is made to hold like 30 to 40 kids. And they were stuffing up to like 250, 300 kids inside each of those. So that's why like in a lot of these pictures, you see kids just like stacked on top of other kids.
Like rats.
Yeah, like rats, you know, like you see like at Petco or something, or like a bunch of puppies in a cage, you know, they can barely move and all that.
Yeah.
That's where that came, that's what was happening. And there was a lot of controversy when people went in there to try to get photos, because I don't know why, but they didn't want those images to get out.
Yeah, I wonder why.
Like, I don't know why. Like, it's like, if people want to help these people, but you guys are treating them like shit, well, you know, while they're in here, especially the kids, you know, like, why don't you want to show this part of, you know, if it's your job to take care of them, why don't you want us to show that you're not taking care of them, where you're falling short?
Right,
you know what I mean? There was at one point there was like someone working in the inside leaked audio from a meeting that they had. And this audio was crazy, man. It was really depressing. They were saying that, yeah, we have an issue with like some of the kids abusing the other kids while they're in here. And like even some of the staff that was supposed to be taking care of the kids were like abusing the kids in there.
Wow.
So like they didn't want that out. Someone working inside somehow had the balls to just like record the audio and leak it out.
Wow. I know we have certain other pictures that you want to bring those up right now, or?
Well, let me go through some of the numbers.
Okay, please. Let's do that.
And this is from a number from last month. I haven't gotten the numbers from this month yet, but last month in April, there were over 234 migrants stopped along the U.S. border this past month. And that's the highest recorded number in the history of CBP, Customs and Border Protection Department. Last year, over 125,000 unaccompanied children were found along the U.S.-Mexican border. That's just kids.
How many?
Over 125,000. We've had some people tell us it was like closer to like 140, 150, but the number that I kind of mostly see is over 125, so maybe 130.
So kids,
and that's just unaccompanied minors. And a scary thing about the number about those kids is that while we were there, we learned that a third of those kids go unaccounted for. So when they cross and they're put up in these facilities, somehow a third of them just went missing. And that's another thing where, like, we've told that to people while we were learning these things, and people were saying, like, no, that's crazy. Like, well, you guys are lying. Why would you say something like that? Who would make that up? And be like, I don't know. But this is what we're learning from people that are, like, working on that side of the thing. That a third of those kids, they just, like, I told, who did I forgot who I told, but I was telling someone at the event that Gil put on, I was like, if a third of over 125,000, if a third of those people go missing, that must be the most elaborate, complicated magic trick that no one's ever heard of.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, how do you lose tens of thousands of children? Just, no one knows. Like, you don't know if they went into some good hands. You don't know if they went, if they got trafficked along the way or what. But it's a thing, you know, it makes your mind, like, it's kind of like, it makes my mind just like question a lot of things. You know, it kind of makes me, being at the border made me question my sanity a lot. Because, you know, a lot of these things just sound so preposterous, so exaggerated. But then you're like, you're seeing a lot of this stuff happen, and it's hard to make sense at times, because, you know, you see what's happening, but sometimes what you're seeing happen is so crazy that you like, and for me it's just like am I really even here? Like, am I part of a movie or something right now, or something like that? You know, it's just, again, with like the numbers and how it's happening, it's just insane. This January, there were 8,777 encounters at the border, just of kids, and that was like an average of 295 a day. And that's just January of this year. A day. And then December, the year before that, the month before, the total was 11,893, and that was 704 average per day. So it's down some, but it's still really high. But that's just with kids, unaccompanied minors.
Wow.
Customs and Border Protection, and this is from this month on the 17th. Customs and Border Protection, nationwide total encounters for the fiscal year of 2022 through April is 1,478,977.
And of course, this includes, men, women, children.
Men, women, children.
Okay, and I do want to say, I don't even know if it even matters, but it's because when people hear those numbers, you know what they right away think? Mexicans.
Yeah.
But it's everyone.
It's everyone. It's actually, I haven't looked at the statistics for like this year about how many Mexicans are. There are some Mexicans that still cross this way, but last year it was mostly people from Central America, Haiti. Central America and Haiti was the biggest two areas where people were coming from. We had a lot of people coming from Venezuela also, but it's that was one thing at the beginning that a lot of people kept saying, like, oh, Mexicans are coming over, and we're like, well, how are you guys coming up with this
right.
conclusion where it's just Mexicans coming over, like it's just Mexicans. There was one day when I was out there by myself, and I was driving up the road, and there was like 90 Haitians just sitting in it was like 110 degrees, and they were all sitting in the shade, any shade they can find.
Wow.
And people from like China, Russia, Middle East, Eastern Europe, there were people from all over the world are coming. It was still primarily Latino countries, but when you see the demographics and where they're coming from, it's people from all over the world are coming that way.
I was in Philadelphia. I want to say it was 2019, I believe, and I was in my hotel room, and I just started to watch Netflix, and then I came across this cooking one because I love watching Anthony Bourdain. Mm-hmm. Okay. And it's unbelievable what happened. So I love watching his show because he goes all around the world having conversation with total strangers and eating good food. Okay. Yeah. So I was looking at this one, and it said I read the description of one Mexican woman. This is what it said. She walked from Mexico to Philadelphia.
Damn.
Now, what I mean by walk, I don't know if she hitchhiked or what, but she made it. Mm-hmm. So I decided to click on it, and I started to watch it. And she married somebody out here. She started her own cooking tacos de barbacoa.
Okay.
And they cook it early in the morning. So I'm watching this. And I press info, like, how old is this? And I think it was like about a year old. I was South Philly. I was not too far from South Philly. So I said, okay, they cook the tacos. People line up. And they close when they're done.
When they're out.
Yeah. Okay. So I said, I'm going to go tomorrow. And there I go. And there it was. And there she was right there. So I went up to her and I just said, hey, how you doing? I'm so-and-so, so-and-so. I took a picture with her. And I said, I saw you on Netflix. And I wasn't too far from here. So I needed to come taste your tacos. Very delicious food. She shared with me a little bit about her story. But she said that Netflix special was only a little bit. He took a lot out. There was a lot more. Mm-hmm. But she came over here and made something of herself, And I thought that was a very, very positive story. And whenever I get the name of the documentary again, I'll post it up on my page so that people can watch it. But it's a very, very inspiring, encouraging story because she left her son to come over here and make a living and then went back to go get him. Mm-hmm. So that's what she did. So that's a good positive. I love hearing positive stories like that. So that's why I wonder when these people get off, because you show some pictures where some people are on a raft.
Yeah,
and then when they get off, that's what I wonder, like, what do you do? Like, where do you go? Did you have somebody here waiting? And some people don't.
Some people don't. Funny story. So when we were out close to that park where I found those kids, I was with my boy Jorge. We were just posted on that little. There's a road. It's like literally like the road running parallel to the border over there in Texas, and the thing is that it's funny because the experience we had in this one night. Like we're wearing hiking boots, we got our backpacks on, we got our water canteens, and we're sweating, and we're just like we're two brown dudes out in the middle of the night. You know what I mean? So the thing is, like, I think we just looked the part. Like we looked like we crossed over.
Oh,
and
okay.
I remember we were just standing there, and this border patrol agent just comes down in a truck, and like he just stops right next to me. He's like, hey, like trying to kind of like talk to us. Like he thought we crossed illegally, and he was like, where are you guys from? And then we just looked at him. We're like no, man, we're with the news. Like we're with the media. So when he heard us talking, he was just like, oh, okay, never mind then, my bad. And he just drove off.
Wow.
And then like 5 minutes later, we were still waiting in the same spot. These two guys in a car, I think it must have been like a Charger or a Challenger, drove by. And this tacuache guy sticks his head out the window, and he was a coyote. So I guess his thing was to like pick people up on the Texas side.
Right.
And he told us like in Spanish, he was like, hey, where are you guys going? Just pay me this much and I'll take you to so-and-so and so-and-so. And we looked at him and we're like, no, man, we're with with Noticias, we're with the news. And he was just like, oh, okay, my bad. And he just drove off.
Wow.
So like, even amongst all the crazy and, sad stuff we were seeing, like there was just some little moments where like we were kind of had like something funny happen to like lighten our mood.
Right. Let's get to those pictures that he wanted to share with us. So maybe when he brings it up on the screen, you can kind of elaborate.
So
what was
this picture right here, this was when you first kind of really started seeing like how crazy things were getting at the border. This is these are all migrants underneath an overpass, and this overpass is a international bridge. Sorry, that goes from Texas to Mexico. And this is like some makeshift temporary holding facility they made. And at the time, I want to say there was like someone told us that we had to get taken there like in secret. Like I can't say who it was or anything like that. But they told us, hey, if you want to see that spot, like, you guys can come with me. So we went in and we had to record this. All of this is like from inside the car with the windows rolled up. And these are all like, I think it must have been like 200 people. Maybe someone said it was like maybe 300 at times, depending on if they bring more people in. And they were all corralled with that orange construction netting.
Right.
In there, sleeping on the dirt, again with thermal blankets, sleeping outside. There was like two or three porta potties for everyone.
Wow.
And they're just there. They can't leave it until they get picked up by the shuttles from the Border Patrol and get processed. But I saw that and I was just like, one of those other moments where I'm like, man, like these. Again, I tell people it doesn't matter how you feel about immigration, whether you're for it or you're against illegal immigration. But when you see people like this put in a situation like that where they're just treated like livestock, that's really, really like, it's just disgusting. You know what I mean? Like,
yes.
Border Patrol can say that they're doing their job, and I understand that people have orders to follow, but this like that should not be happening. Making people sleep outside like they're goats or pigs. You know what I mean?
Okay. Was there another one that you were? I don't know.
This was that same park where I found Hector. This was during the day. So again, all hours of the day. It could be 1 a.m, 3 a.m. It could be 8, 9 a.m, 2 p.m. People are always crossing. And this is a family. I didn't get. There were some times where Border Patrol was cool with us, and they would say like, "Yeah, just talk with them." But if we have to come this way, you guys just need to get out the way. But then sometimes certain Border Patrol agents would say, "Yeah, you can do it, but you guys have to stand all the way over there, like 70 feet away, 100 feet away." Okay. So, but I have a telephoto lens, like a zoom lens, so I was able to take these pictures from like, I think like 70 feet away or so. And this is a family. We didn't get to talk with them; they wouldn't let us get that close. But this was a family unit with like 3 kids. Can you go to the next photo? Yeah. And the same group of people that crossed, not that family, but there was like a larger group. That's another unaccompanied minor. He just came by himself. I saw him walk up to that fence and just like, he looked depressed. He just walked up to this fence and he just sat down like that the whole time. Didn't speak to no one. He was just kind of twirling his finger in the dirt.
Wow.
That's the other thing. Like, we don't know where he's going. If he knows someone here or if he's, or if he's getting trafficked or not. Yeah. It's just, it's a lot, man. I really feel for everyone that's having to go through this.
I have a question that somebody sent me, and hopefully I read it correctly. There's somebody watching the show when they texted to me, so it's kind of lengthy. I think it's a 2-part question, but I'm going to just try to read it to you and give me your best, I guess, elaborate on it. Do you think people or so-called patriots should be proud that people or immigrants still want to come to America?
I think they should be proud. I think they should be proud of that, the fact that, like I'm proud of that. You know what I mean? I'm first generation born here in Southern California. So for me, like, I can't disagree. I'm proud that people want to come here because, like, if my parents didn't want to come up here, then I wouldn't be able to be in the position. I mean, I'm not like a wealthy person or anything like that. You know what I mean? I work for what I have and all that, but what I have afforded to me here far outweighs what I could have been doing in Mexico. Unfortunately, considering where my family come from, they're all blue collar farmers. All that stuff, small town Mexico. I probably wouldn't been able to do a lot of things I do now.
Okay.
So for me, when I see people wanting to come up here, say that they want to come up here, for me, it's like, man, it must be so great here then.
Yes.
It must be so great here that people want to come up here.
The second part of it is shouldn't they be more concerned when immigrants no longer want to immigrate here and would rather go to a country with more promise for a future, like Canada, for example? Pretty much what he's saying. Shouldn't we be worried about when they no longer want to come?
I think I can see that. It's hard for me to really give a solid answer on that, but I can see, like, at some point, say you have a business, like a restaurant, you always want people to come in.
Of course.
And then at some point, like, let's just say people stop coming, you're like, well, shit, what do I do now? I got to do something. I want to have people coming in, and whether it's for a whole few hours or just to-go meals or something,
Yeah.
But yeah, I think if people do at some point in the future say, like, oh, we don't want to go to the U.S. anymore, that should probably be a little bit concerning, I think.
Yeah. Okay. We're running out of time here. We got a few minutes left, and I want to continue to keep going. But I know we had a couple of more pictures. Was there any other ones that you wanted to elaborate a little bit on?
Yeah. Can you bring up the photos, like the last ones I said, like people in tents and all that? So last year I also got to go to Tijuana to the migrant camp over there. Okay. And man, that was the same thing, man. Like, well, not similar, but just the same. I mean, as in, oh, hold it right here real quick. That's that guy in the yellow vest. That's a coyote, and he was just kind of like rubbing the little girl's head right there, kind of like saying goodbye to her. But his job, we saw him multiple times. Just that's what he would do. He said, like, oh, I start like at 8 p.m. and I go until whenever I'm done, just crossing people by the raft. Wow. But you can go to those pictures, the last set of pictures. So I went to Tijuana, and because I heard that there was a lot of migrants there as well. And there's this area there called El Chaparral, and it's right up against the Ped West port of entry, the pedestrian port of entry to San Isidro. Yes. And it's, oh no, you can keep going. Okay, no, you're good. Yeah, I'll keep watch then. They're like daytime photos with a flash. There was it got so packed there that the pedestrian point of entry had to close. So you couldn't use that to cross into Tijuana at some point. And this is like one of those scenes actually right here. This little boy with his family. I think they were from Guatemala. And again, man, just another thing, like, you could see that stuff in the media and the news, but when I got there and I actually had my feet on the ground walking around that camp, it was sad, man. You see kids walking barefoot, there's dirty everywhere. You have so many people living next to each other in tents that, it kind of happens, Yeah. This was crazy right here. I actually got kind of scared when this happened. So they had donations come in. People would come into cars and donate food and clothes and toiletries and all that. But the people get so desperate for that stuff. So I remember at one point, before the car got there, it was fine. I was just standing there taking pictures, and then this car rolled up, and I guess everyone knew who it was. So then, like, in 2-3 seconds, I was just surrounded by like 60 people. Wow. And they were all yelling, like, I want this, and I need this, and I need this, and people shoving each other to get first in line. And I was just like, man, I need to, like, step away for a second. Like, I don't know. It's like if they're going to start tearing the windows off or something like that. But it's that hectic when you have that many people crammed into such a small space, and they're just depending on donations. Yeah. Wow. Man, you're leaving me speechless, man. You could change it if there's any more pictures up there, Alex. Okay.
And this little boy right here, is this a little boy? If I'm correct, I could barely see it on my end.
I know I searched some of these pictures at the event, but I didn't get it to him in time. But I was also covering the Ukrainians coming over.
Okay.
And that was, by comparison, it was like so different, you know, because that's actually a little boy. I mean, a little girl with his dad at the camp in Tijuana. They were really nice. There was people were telling me like, why do the white Europeans get treated this way versus, you know, Latinos coming over? And I mean, there are some differences as to why, like, I mean, there's an active war happening, you know, and then some people say, well, there's conflicts in Mexico and Central America too. And that's true as well. But I mean, I guess they take, according to the government and what's actually happening, you know, they don't really compare. And one thing is that sometimes people, especially Raza, will say, you know, well, we want to help our own, we want to help people come up, and, you know, yada yada. But again, like I said at the event, we just have this tendency where we don't support each other. We don't really show up for each other. But when I saw the Ukrainians there, I saw Ukrainian people that had already been living here in the States. They were coming down from Sacramento, coming down from LA, coming from Arizona, you know, Nevada, going all the way to San Isidro to be there for people they knew or people they wanted to help. Like, that's one thing I've told some people is like, well, man, look, they showed up, you know, like,
yeah.
Again, and I tell people you can feel however you want about the immigration or illegal immigration, but if you're talking about helping your own, use that as an example, because you can't hate them for being there for their own people.
No, you cannot.
You know, like there was a guy who was right as soon as they crossed, there was this one guy, he had a Ukrainian flag like draped across his shoulders, and he was there almost every single day I was there. And for every single person that crossed over, he would say in Ukrainian something along the lines of like you're safe now, welcome to America. Once you cross this, like, it was kind of like a symbol of like what was happening. They put tape, and on one side they put Mexico, and the other side they put USA. And so he would say something along the lines of like now you're safe, and once you cross this tape, you're officially in America, so you can walk over.
Right.
For every single person, it didn't matter if it was one person, 20 people, for every single day, he did that he said that he greeted every single Ukrainian with that same thing and give every single person a hug. Every single person a hug. And then after that, they would go to these booths that they had set up with donations that everyone was bringing. And it wasn't just, sometimes it wasn't just cheap food, man. It was like really good quality food. You know, they would go out of their way and buy organic food, organic baby food. They were cooking food for them right there on the spot. There was like at one point like 30, 40 strollers right there for people that had kids, car seats. People were using their own vehicles to go down there and pick people up to take them to the church or take them to the airport, translating for them. And I told even at the event that even a lot of Latinos went there to help them. You know what I mean? Which is it's an interesting thing. But again, I tell a lot of Razas is like, we don't do that a lot of the time. We don't do that for our own. We just get up in arms. We say that people are getting treated so and such, and we get the short end of the stick. And it's just like, literally a lot of the time we're giving the short stick to our own people is what's happening. You know what I mean? So again, regardless of how you feel about immigration, if you want to talk about and be realistic about, you know, how Raza should support Raza, that's a good example right there. That guy just showed up. I don't even know if he's from Sacramento or where, but he showed up and he said, "Welcome to America. You're safe. Here's a hug. You don't have to worry anymore." Wow. It's all about, again, showing up. You got to just, we're a lot of talk, you know. But that guy, he says, "I'm going to go do it. I'm going to go drive down there every single day if I have to. And I'm going to be there every single day." And a lot of those people are there 7 days a week, 24 hours.
Let me say something about the little meeting that we had with Gil from American Cholo, okay? First and foremost, I was happy that people showed up, number one. I liked the setting there in the Church of the Victory Outreach. I expected to see a lot more people there. Mm-hmm. I'll be 100% honest with you. A good-sized group did show up, and I do believe that was a good step forward. And I want to thank Gil for at least taking the, how would you say, the initiative to say, if we're going to preach this or talk this, let's meet.
Let's actually do it.
Let's actually do it, okay? So that's why I said, I have to go. And that's why I said, I'll go, but I at least want to share something, And then that's where I met you there. You shared this story, the things that you've been seeing. When me and my son drove off, we both agreed there should have been a lot more people here. For as many as people that listen to us on these podcasts, we have over 40K subscribers, okay? As much as, people listen to us, more people should have showed up and support. But I told my son, the people that needed to be there,
the right people were there.
And to me, I'm happy with that. I'm happy.
It shows, man. It shows who those people that showed up there. You can tell like these people, for whatever background and whatever profession they have, you can tell that it's almost always going to be like being the good guy is going to be being the underdog.
Yeah.
But when you see that, well, at least I have the right team. At least I have so-and-so in media or so-and-so that's an entrepreneur and we're all on the same page and we're all, we're going to work towards the same goal.
Right.
I think it really does matter, Obviously, like you said, more people would have been much more beneficial if there was a good group there. But I think if the first person, like Gil, again, I have to thank him too, man. That was badass that he was able to set that up. I think the right people showed up.
Yeah.
The people with the right heart, the right mindset, the people willing to take action.
Right. And I hope it's just the beginning and we continue to have these, whether it be, twice a year, once a year, it doesn't matter,
I agree.
But other than that, brother, anything that else you want to share, anything maybe we didn't post up or as far as on there, was there something else?
Just if you guys want to check out what I do right now, I haven't been to the border in a while because I've been covering some other stuff here in San Diego. And sometimes I'm coming up to LA to cover some stuff. But you can guys follow me at Photos with Eric. I'm going to shout out some of my boys who actually go to Texas a lot more regularly than I do. Jorge Ventura, he's at Jorge Ventura TV on Instagram. My boy Juan, he goes by Juan More News. And my boy Anthony, Informed with Anthony. I've worked a lot with those guys. And we don't always agree on everything, in terms of politics and stuff like that. But we've all seen the same things. We've all worked with each other, helped each other while we were out there, helped to keep each other safe. But when it comes to like information pertaining to like the border stuff and even with the school shooting that happened in Uvalde, those are like my top picks right now. I know them well. Yeah. I've worked with them and I trust them that if they're out going somewhere, that you're going to see the real deal.
Yeah. Okay. Other than that, my brother, thank you once again for coming. I greatly appreciate you.
I greatly appreciate it.
Let's stay in contact and let's see what the future holds for us.
Exactly. Thank you so much.
So you're welcome. Let me go ahead and give my shout out to Alex Cervantes Enterprise, my son B. Scallons for helping me promote this, the Hip Hop Jedi. Also want to give a shout out to Norbert and everybody who tuned in. I know for shows like this, a lot of times people may not want to tune in simply because Roadium Radio is built amongst hip-hop rap / Chicano rap. I get it, but sometimes things like this need to be talked about. And the only thing I ask is for you guys to tune in, educate yourself, and let's do something about it. We always talk, unity. We always talk for the Raza, but like you said, it's time to be there for the Raza.
Being there for Raza shouldn't just be a slogan. You know what I mean? It shouldn't just be something that you brand or like make something like an art piece about. It's about let's do that stuff as well. But like I said, actually show up for the Raza.
Yeah, absolutely. So and once again, may the children in Texas, once again, let's keep their family in prayer. The families in Buffalo that lost, the family members, let's keep those families in prayer as well. And once again, may Gabriel Fernandez never be forgotten. We all know his story. I almost feel bad even saying this. If you're going to watch the documentary about Gabriel Fernandez on Netflix, honestly, watch it at your own risk because I literally had to stop it several times. It's brutal and should never have taken place. So other than that, once again, let's keep those families in prayer. I'll see you guys here tomorrow. We have Drinking with the Wizard, and then we'll be back on Sunday. So once again, thank you everybody in the live chat. Much love, much respect. Have a blessed night.
You got it